Okay? You can see me? Okay. Okay, good morning. We are in Tav Kuf Nun. Hevdol sheyesh ben Tisha B'Av leyeter tzomot. Okay, so the difference between Tisha B'Av and the other, I believe it's 3 main fasts, or 4, we'll see. Aleph. Hakol chayavim lehita'anot arba tzomot halalu. Everyone has to fast these 4 tzomot, these fast days. There's four of them. V'asur lifrotz gader. And it's asur to be poretz gader, to break the fence. In other words, not to do it. Obviously, this is not including Yom Kippur. And the expression of asur lifrotz gader really comes from the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, that in a time when there's Shmad, so Chazal made all these 4, the Rabbanan fasts, obligatory. Right? We have to. In times of, when there's a Beis HaMikdash, then there is no fast. It's a time of Sason and Simcha. When there's no Beis HaMikdash and no Shmad, so then it was optional. If the Jews or the community wanted to fast, they would fast. If not, not. But it already became the minhag, Klal Yisrael, many years ago. I think already in the times of the Gemara became the minhag, they accepted upon themselves, I don't know how far back, that all of Klal Yisrael will fast for all generations until the Beis HaMikdash is built. So that was based on their minhag, and hence the expression of sur lifrotz gader. Haga, mihu, ubarot umenikot shemitztarot harbe lit'anot. When women who are pregnant or they're nursing, and it's difficult for them, they shouldn't fast. So by the Sfardim, they never fast, whether it's difficult or not difficult. But they're never chayiv to fast. But according to the Ramah, about Vafilu Einan Mitzdarot, even if it's not difficult for them, Einan Mechuyavot Litanot El Shenagu Lahachmir. The minhag is, if they're having difficulty fasting, then they do eat and drink. But if they're having no difficulty, then the minhag is that they don't. And again, Lamaisa, it depends on the minhag, I guess, of every community as far as how to deal with this. And some in general are, especially among Hasidim, are more mekel in general. But, okay. V'dafka b'shlosha tzomot. And dafka, these 3 tzomot, where it may be mutter for pregnant and nursing. Aval b'Tisha B'Av mechuyavot lahashlim. But when it comes to Tisha B'Av, right, we're not talking about Yom Kippur over here. We're talking about the 4 tzomos darabanan. So when it comes to Tisha B'Av, so then they are chayav, unless of course they're sick and etc. We'll get to those halachot later. But generally speaking, even if it's just difficult, so then they're also chayav. And I'm not going to get into all the details, but I'll just point out that there are different levels. Let's say a woman is nursing. So generally speaking, many poskim say that if they are not having difficulty, then they are allowed to, let's say they stop nursing. So I'm just going to point out one kula of Chazan Ovadia. Many don't agree with it, but for the first 2 years of giving birth, they have a din of nursing, even if they're not nursing anymore. Lachatchila, they don't need to fast at all for 2 years. That's a very popular minhag by the Sfardim. Ashkenazim are a little more mekel if there's no, generally more machmer if there's zero, if they're not nursing anymore at all, and they have no difficulty. Okay, bet. Tzomot halalu. These fast days, chutz miTisha B'Av, except for Tisha B'Av, mutarim berchitza, right, washing, even hot water, v'sicha, and anointing or oils, moisturizing cream, perhaps, probably, also perfumes, u'ne'ilat sandal, wearing leather shoes, v'tashmi shamita, and marital relations, ve'ein tzarich lahafsik behem miba'od yom. And whatever you're not doing for these other days, it really just boils down to eating, drinking, and perhaps more, we'll say in a second. So, so normally, these things only start in the morning. When it comes to obviously we all know, Tisha B'Av we start the night before, but these things start in the morning. Now, there are some who are machmer, that not to use hot water. Most do, but some don't. And the Mishnah Berurah even says, Baal Nefesh shouldn't even eat the night before. For all four fasts, a Baal Nefesh doesn't eat already from the night before. I've never heard of people who do this, but I guess they wouldn't advertise it. Okay, but yeah.
It's always been the Rosh Hashachar. It's always been like
Right. So everyone we know it goes by Alot Shachar, and not to get into it, but just to point out, here when the Mishnah Berurah says Baal Nefesh Yachmir, he's not saying you have to. So just you can take that as a klal for the Mishnah Berurah in general when the Mishnah Berurah says Baal Nefesh Yachmir. Okay, Gimel. Now, what happens if these four fasts come out on Shabbos? So the general rule is nidchin la'achar haShabbos. You push it off to Sunday, right? The Mishnah says because these are puranios, these are bad things, right? The purpose of these holidays is because because the bad things happened, in order to arouse us to do teshuvah. But we don't makdim puranios. We don't want to bring in, sad things early. We want to try and push them off, and hopefully it won't even apply this year. The one major exception that we all know of is Tainus Esther, that we bring in early, because it's not because of a sad thing that happened. It's more just of a day of tefillah before Purim. Okay. Haga. V'im chalu be'erev Shabbos, and if it happens on erev Shabbos, which nowadays with our calendars only happens with only Asara B'Tevis, exactly. V'im chalu be'erev Shabbos, korim shachar sumincha v'eichal. Then you read like a normal fast day. You read in the morning, and for mincha yilein, the same as always, from v'eichal. V'im yesh chuppah b'yom hataynis be'erev Shabbos, and if there's going to be a chuppah, generally nowadays we don't do this, but they used to many times for financial reasons, they would make a chuppah on Fridays. So let's say Friday is Asara B'Teves, and you make a chuppah then, and you're going to eat at nighttime. So nohagim. So how does that work? Nohagim litpalel mincha. So after chatzos, you daven mincha, you do vayachal, and then v'yacharkach osin chuppah, and then you do the chuppah after mincha time. And and they would eat and party on the night. Dalet. The Shabbos kodem latzon. Now, there was a custom that on Shabbos morning, because that's when everybody came to shul, machri shaliach tzibor hatzon. Gabbai shaliach tzibor, someone would announce that there's a tzon, or through a tefillah they would announce the tzon. That's also why I might say shaliach tzibor. They would announce through a tefillah, and say, just like we do by all communities have this when it comes to Rosh Chodesh. Only Sfardim nowadays do this by announce it through a tefillah when they take out the Sefer Torah. Through a tefillah as well, same idea. Rosh Chodesh we do right before Musaf, but here this they do when they take out the Sefer Torah. So when do you announce it? Do you announce it for every fast day? So we see no. Chutz mi Tisha B'Av. They don't announce it on Tisha B'Av. Vitzom Kippur. They don't announce it when Yom Kippur is that week. Vitzom Purim. And they don't announce it by Purim. Why? Because everyone knows those. Everyone's following the calendar, and everyone knows when these 3 days are going to come out. It's the other 3 days that not everyone has a calendar, and people knew about it less and needed the reminder more. And therefore, v'simanach akaf alav piyu. The Roshei Tevos of akaf, aleph, chaf, pei. So that stands for Av, Kippur, and Purim. And so that's just as a siman for you to remember which ones you don't announce it.
Akaf means to restrain.
Right, exactly. To restrain the mouth. Thank you very much. Uminag Ashkenazim shulach rishum echad mehem. And the minhag by Ashkenazim is we don't mention any of them. And also, this happens to be by most or many Sephardic communities, they also don't announce Tzom Gedalia. Because everyone knows when Rosh Hashanah is, and everyone knows it's the day after Rosh Hashanah. But, okay. Depends on the minhag. Okay. Okay. And if you're doing the wedding, not that it usually happens, but if you're going to do this wedding on a fast day, so you give the wine to drink to a tinok, or someone who's allowed to drink. And if it's okay, fine, we'll go on. If it's whatever, let's go on. Tav Kuf Nun Aleph. Din Shavua Shachal Tisha B'Av Liot Betocha. All right, so now some of the halachos of Shavua Shachalbo, or we're going to see the whole month of Av as okay. Aleph. Misha Nichnas Av Mimatin Besimcha. Okay, so when it comes to the month of Av, so we are Mima'it in Simcha. We minimize the amount of Simcha. So let's see. Ubar Yisrael De'itle Dina Bahadekudin, a Jew who has a Beis Din, a Din Torah has to go to, or a non-Jewish court, whatever. He has a Beis Din Torah, or a Din, with a non-Jew. So Lishtamet Mine Diria Mazlei. So the best thing to do is push it off to the next month, or especially those 9 days, because it's a bad time. It's the mazel's not the best that month. Let's save it when things are going better. Haga Mila shehi merosh chodesh ad Tisha b'Av noagin shamo ba'al brit v'aviaben lovshin bigdei Shabbos. So if you have a bris milah during the 9 days, so the minhag is you still get dressed nice, bigdei Shabbos, the three baalei simcha, the moel, ba'al brit, and avi habein. Okay, and I think it's the Mishnah Berurah says that also, or someone points out that if it's it's the Mishnah Berurah by a kfater, the person who brings it in, that a man who brings in the baby is not one of the three. He doesn't wear bigdei Shabbos. But if it's a woman who brings in the baby, she gets to wear bigdei Shabbos, because that's her only acting role that she's allowed to do. So the minhag is for women not to be a moel, sandik, or she's not the father. So, anyways, that's her. So that's the woman's active role. So she gets That's her ikra mitzvah. Okay, aval belav hachi asur. But otherwise, we don't wear bigdei Shabbos during the 9 days. Afilu b'Shabbos shel chazon ein machlifin ilbosh bigdei Shabbos ki im haketonet levad. So again, this depends on the minhag, but some don't even wear bigdei Shabbos on Shabbos chazon, the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av. Okay. Fine. Aval porsin parochet shel Shabbos.
Which is the keton?
I guess the coat. I don't know. Maybe a jacket. I'm not exactly.
That's the other
Oh, that's right. The zeya. Thank you. Like an undershirt or something that you wear. So that for sure you're going to wear a new one. Okay. That we wear all night. So we wear undergarments, fresh ones all week anyway. Okay, except those who are machmer. Okay, aval porsin parochet shel Shabbos im lo she'era Tisha b'Av b'Shabbos v'nidcha she'az ein porsin parochet shel Shabbos. Okay, you are allowed to wear put up for the aron the paroches on Shabbos. I think that's what we're talking about. Oh no. Oh boy. Yeah. We're talking about here. The Mishnah Berurah says we're talking about tablecloths, right? No, parochet. He says is referring to the.
There's places that switch the yekis and wash and hide.
No, I know.
Different parochet
for the Aron HaKodesh.
All different days of the year, they have different things that they have.
Okay, Tzarech exactly which parochet we're talking about over here. I don't know. Sorry, maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. But one of the parochas, if Shabbos is not Tisha B'Av, then you use the regular Shabbos parochet. I don't know, referring to the Aron or referring to your tablecloth? The Aron? Okay, fine. So we'll say it's referring to both. How's that? Okay. We'll say it's referring to the Aron, and if we see otherwise, you'll let me know tomorrow. But let's assume we're referring to both the Aron and to the tablecloth. Im lo she'era Tisha b'av b'Shabbos v'nidcha she'az ein porsin parochet shel Shabbos. But you don't put on this parochet or tablecloth of Shabbos if it's a nidcha, if it's really Tisha b'av. ומי שיש לו נישואין בשבס, נחמו, מותר ללבוש בגדי שבס בשבס של חזון. And if it's your Sheva Brachos, so then you wear your special Shabbos. No?
This is Ashkenazi. This is an Ofruf.
Is it referring to an Afruf?
Right? The Nisuin is the Shabbat Nachamu, the week of Nachamu. This is the Ofruf.
Yeah, it has to, they wouldn't get married beforehand, right? Maybe. Okay.
No,
You're saying it is for sure?
Shabbat Nachamu. Shabbat Nachamu is the week.
It's after,
And it's the week after. So after Shabbat, he has a wedding, and Shabbat Chazon is the offer.
Okay.
It's the Ashkenazi custom. It's the Ramah, not the Matas.
Okay, fine. So we're talking about the Afra. Fine. Shkoyach. Okay, very good. Thank you. Beis. Mirosh Chodesh Ada Tainus. Mimati Mimasa Matan. Now, from Rosh Chodesh until the Tainus, we do less business. So some do less business bichlal, but in general, but many have the minhag to do regular business because we consider whatever we do, whenever we're working, it's kedei chayav. It's we're not necessarily loaded where we don't need to work, and if we don't work for those 9 days, it's going to hurt us. Besides davar ha'aved and all those issues. Okay, so let's go. Binyan shel simcha, and we don't do any kind of building of simcha. Kagon beit chatnut livno, building a house for your chassan's son. Oh, binyan shel tzior v'chior, or a house that's a building for just for for pleasure. Ubenetia shel simcha, and planting for just to plant for happiness. Kegon of Avarnaki shel malachim shnotim letzel lihistofef betzilo o mini hadas umini oalim. Or if you have a beautiful backyard, or for the king, and they plant just to make their backyard even nicer and nicer, so this is not allowed. So, okay, so we don't do building for enjoyment. However, what if you have a wall that might collapse? It's collapsing. So then it's an issue of sakana. So alpha pishu shel simcha, even though it's going to make you happy, you're making a brand new wall or a brand new fence. You've been dying to do this for years. Just didn't know when to get around to doing it. And now you notice exactly now it's starting to fall apart and it's dangerous. Mutar leave note. You are allowed to build during the 9 days. Uletzorech mitzvah kol shari. And if it's for the tzorech mitzvah, then it's always going to be okay. Okay, ve'ein nosim nashim ve'ein osin seudat erusin. Now, during these 9 days, we don't do simchas. We don't get married, and we don't make the seuda of engagements. Aval, we don't even make engagement parties. That's the minhag. Aval la'ares below seuda mutar, but just the act of getting engaged, without getting married, without making a party, that's 100% mutar. V'afilu b'tisha b'av atzma mutar la'ares. Even allowed to get engaged without a party on Tisha B'av. Why? Shelo yekadmenu acher. Because we don't want someone else to take the girl. Or now they're both are interested, and if you wait, maybe they will get cold feet and change their minds. Hagav v'noagim lahachmer she'ein osim mishiva asar b'tamuz ve'elach. But the minhag by Ashkenazim is not to get married during the 3 weeks, which is generally the practice by Sephardim as well. During the 3 weeks, we don't actually get married. Ad achar Tisha B'av. So it depends. Okay, l'maisa it's usually not done, and it also depends if it's their first time getting married, and so Mi'ikar Din, he says you're allowed to. Rav Ovadia. I think we'll learn a bit more about this as we go on. I think so. But so, anyways, it's a machokas if you're allowed to or not, but generally he holds you are allowed to, but the minhag generally is not.
That was part of the Ashkenazic tyranny.
Gimel.
Mishabura says it's mutter.
Which case?
She'ein noisem no.
What do you mean is mutter? It says ein nosi mishiva sar b'tamuz ve'elech until after Tisha B'Av.
Sorry.
And then the bottom he writes of the mishalo kiyam peri afilu mishalo kiyam peri avirvia. So that's the main difference.
Next one.
So there he does say, but for the 9 day, okay, when it comes to engagements, that he says you are allowed to do lechatchila for Ashkenazim, certainly Sephardim, before the 9 days. The 3 weeks is for weddings, and then engagement parties. That's only the 9 days. That's by the minute. That's what he writes. Very good.
Well, the erusin here is like real erusin.
Real erusin, but even I think nowadays, I guess you can ask.
It's like less than.
I would think you're allowed. It's less chashuv, but I think you are allowed to do it up until the 9 days, until Rosh Chodesh. Like when people make a l'chaim or a vort. So that I think Ashkenazim do. You can double check your community, but they do before the 9 days. During the 9 days?
What doesn't this mean?
I don't think so. I think during the 9 days not.
That's later on, Sifyu.
Okay, let's just read Gimel. Very long. You want to stop? Gimel reads pretty quick. Let's see if we can do it. Shavua Shechal Tisha B'Av. So the week of Tisha B'Av. Asurim l'saper l'chabes. You're not allowed to do haircuts and you're not allowed to do laundry. Even if you just want to wait till after Tisha B'Av, you're not wearing it now. You're not allowed to wear them and you freshly clothes clothes that were laundered, and you're not allowed to do the laundry even if it's for after Tisha B'Av. So here you see, according to the minhag of the Sephardim, it's only Shavua Shechal. And even if you only have one thing to wear, you're not allowed to. But as Kornfeld said, if you have nothing to wear, then you are allowed to wash that one item. You have nothing to wear, what are you going to do? You don't have to stay home. Even if it was already laundered before, it's for clothing or whether it's your bedding. Even to do laundry for your hands and for the tablecloths. So now he's going to go into a little thing where he says our laundry is mutter, and then at the end you're going to see at the end our laundry is actually aser, and that is the halacha. You're not allowed to do laundry nowadays. Ashkenazim and Sephardim the same. We both say it's aser, but there is a difference. For Sephardim it's Shavua Shechal Bo, and for Ashkenazim you're going to see it's already from Rosh Chodesh. So let's just read it inside. Uchalei Pishtan, which the flax in those days what was it? I think it was. It never really got cleaned. I think what it was. Forgot. It was. Right. So the gihus didn't do much, and it was like our laundry nowadays, which doesn't do as much as it did in those days as well, or in particular Eretz Yisrael. Right. So our laundry is all different. So we're going to see. So that's talking about doing giyutz and leaving it for after Tisha B'Av. But even klei pishtan would be aser during Shavua Shechal Bo. V'nahagu le'asor afilu klei pishtan, and the minhag became even klei pishtan is aser. V'afilu kibush shelanu is also aser, even our laundry. Ben lilbosh ben lechabes u'lhaniach. Whether you're going to wear it or wash it and save it for afterwards. Ve'en lahakal b'davar kevan shenagu, and we're not making it since this became the minhag lahachmer. V'kol sheken d'afshad medina nami aser. And it might even be aser midina. Sheharei yesh mishakatav de kibush shelanu kare shel b'nei Bavel she'ei mitlabim yafeh. It could be our kibbutz doesn't get clean so well, like Bavel, because their water wasn't as clean. She'eno eretz harim gvaot keretz Yisrael. It wasn't a hilly with the clean water of Eretz Yisrael. The kibbutz shel sha'ar aretzot efshar shu kibbutz shel Eretz Yisrael v'aser. It could be the kibbutz in Chutz La'aretz is like the kibbutz in Eretz Yisrael, which is aser. Could be it's different. But in other words, the whole machloket rishonim as far as if it would be aser or not aser. The Ikar halacha started out to be mutter according to the Shulchan Aruch, but again, like we said, the minhag is clearly aser. V'od yesh mi sheperish the kibbutz hainu mayim ve'efer, or neter uborit v'kibbutz hainu b'mayim levad. Also, nowadays we do laundry with detergent. In those days, when they said maybe it was mutter, that was only with plain water. That's another opinion. But nowadays, no one washes just with water. So therefore, it could be that everyone, according to some Rishonim, our kibbutz was always aser. Aser medina. I feel beklei plishtan lavshan mia. Okay, Hagav. Va'anu nohagim lahachmer b'chol zeh mitchilat rosh chodesh ad achar hatainis. But and so basically, like we said, and the Ramah just points out that the Isser starts from Rosh Chodesh Av until the Tainus. And imo letzorach mitzvah, except letzorach mitzvah, there's a heter, kegon, Isha loveshet levanim, muteret lechabes v'luvash levanim, ulehatzia tachtea, in order that she needs to wear white clothing because of her period. Aval b'tisha b'av atzmo lo tilbash levanim. But Tisha b'av, you don't wear the white, clean clothing. V'rak loveshet chaluk baduk v'yafeh. Just wear something that was already checked. V'chein lichvot Shabbos loshim klei plishtan u'matzian levanim kemo b'shar Shabbatos. And for kavod Shabbos, you are allowed to wear klei plishtan and u'matzian levanim, and you're allowed to wear clean sheets like on other Shabboses. And again, that depends if it's referring to bedding or not, or just the tablecloths. V'asur litain kelim lo koveset Eina Yehudi lechabes Rosh Chodesh ve'elech, aval kodem Rosh Chodesh mutar latet, afal pisha koveset achar Rosh Chodesh. And you are allowed to give your laundry to a laundromat or a non-Jew to do laundry for you before Rosh Chodesh, even if he's going to do it after Rosh Chodesh. All right.
Thank you.